Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much to my subscribers. Welcome newcomers. I hope you like what you see, and if so, be part of this journey with us by hitting that subscription button right below in red. It's free of charge. You don't pay anything for it, and it helps the channel. And also don't forget to hit the bell notifications for new uploads. I want to thank every single one of you for all your beautiful comments and your support. Thank you so much. And I would like to mention that right up top, there's 3 little buttons. You can click there to slow down the video to the speed you would like if I'm too fast for you. Also, right next to it, there's the CC, closed caption. You can turn that on and you can pause the video and take notes of everything that will be written down here on the stitch that I will be calling. In case you don't have the CC up there or the 3 little buttons on the video up top, there's 3 little buttons. You just click there on the settings and it's in there. You can slow down the video and also turn your closed caption on. The next thing I would like to mention is in the description box, everything is always listed below. There's a little arrow right, like a V, upside down, right below the video on the right side. If you click that little arrow, everything will be in the description box. So I have my Facebook page for the crochet. I also have a Facebook group, crochet, that you can join if you have a profile on your Facebook. And you can join us in the group. It's a private group. So, of course, you have to have a profile. If you don't, then unfortunately you can't, because there's too many scammers going around with the groups, and I want to make sure that we're all safe and nobody's going around scamming anybody. I see a lot of that in the groups nowadays, and I'm taking myself away from the groups due to that fact, and also the fact that there's some nastiness going on, especially coming out of administration's mouth. That's not a good thing. So I decided to create my own, inviting you to be part of it if you'd like to. What else? So I also would like to mention, if you please want to help to donate for the women in need of thread and yarn, I need your help to buy them the thread and yarn. I have my PayPal account below in the description box. You can donate whatever you feel like. Everything adds up at the end, so we can help these women to get them busy with, creating some pieces and distract their minds from the daily life stress that they might be going through. It could be a mental stress, it could be family stress, it could be mothers alone with children that cannot afford to buy these threads and yarn. So I really want to help them out, and the only way I can do it is by you and I together helping them out. So please be generous and help out. It doesn't matter the amount. And I want to thank you so much for helping. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sure they will appreciate you too, very, very much so. So thank you again. Anything else? I hope I'm not forgetting. So normally when I'm calling out the stitch and I say chain 1 for space, and I usually say chain 1 separation, that means for space. If your stitch is too tight, then do an extra chain. So instead of doing 1, you do 2 chain. If your stitch is too loose, then do less 1 chain. Also, when your stitch is extremely tight, you should go with the hook, 1 hook size bigger than your normal that you use, because that will help to loosen up the stitch when you're going into the second row and try to put your stitches in. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. We're going to get started. Please also share, give a thumbs up on the video. It helps to circulate the video and have the channel to be recognized. Share on your Facebook public with your family and friends. Have them join us together as one big family. So thank you so much, everybody. I send much hug and love to every single one of you, and many blessings from the universe. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, everybody, so we are at the second part of the Rosebud table runner. We're going to come in with a green, and right on the corner we're going to do a single. So this whole row all the way around, it's all well, not all, almost all single crochets. Okay, so I'm going to come into the next one, single, next space, single, next space, single. So we're going to do a single crochet per space until the corner here, and then I'll come back to you on it. Okay, so I'm at the corner, and on this corner we have 5 double crochets. So I'm going to go into my third double crochet with a single, and then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to come back down the same space and close it in with a single. And I'm going to do 7 chain stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come back down the same space. Close. So I'm making these little leaves at the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come back down. And I've created my little leaf. 5 chain, 7 chain, 5 chain, all in the same space. Next space. Single. Single. That's 2 singles, 3 singles, 4 singles, and on the 5th one we're going to repeat the same thing, the 5 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back down on the same space. 7 chain, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come back down into the same space, and 5 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 5. I don't know why I was counting 7. And into the same space. So now we have 2 leaves going on here. We're going to count again. Single 5 times into the 5th, of course. 2, 3, 4, 5. So on my 5th one, I'm repeating again the 5 chain and creating these little leaves. 7 chain into the same space and 5 chain. And repeat again the pattern with 5 singles again. 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th one we're going to repeat the little flowers. We're going to do this all the way to the corner here, and then we're going to proceed 1 single per space, exactly like we did at this edge. And then we're going to repeat exactly what we did here on the corner. We're going to repeat the flower on this corner, and then do the 5 singles and do our leaves again. So it's just very simple, nothing to it. I'm going to continue mine all the way around, and I'm going to come back here with my leaf, and then we'll go into the next step. Okay, it's all simple, nothing to it. Okay, so we started here, did my leaves, and now we're at the corner. So my third one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just wanted to make sure that you understood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 again. So all in the same space. So now we have the other leaf in the corner. Now we're going to do 1 per space. 1, next space single, next space single, next space single. So we're going to do that all the way to the corner, and on the 3rd one we're going to create our leaf again, and then do our 5 singles and our leaf, 5 singles and our leaf. So I'll meet you at the other corner at the end. Okay everyone, so I've reached the end with my last corner leaf. Okay, now we're going to work 1 section, and then we're going to cut our thread and work the other section. So on that one I have 8 roses. On this one I'm going to try to fit only 6, but if you're doing the 8, then you would start by the first one here, skip a space, the next, skip a space, the next. I'm going to skip 2 spaces to try to create only 6 of them. Okay, so I've closed in with a slip stitch on the first single. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 singles. Okay, I'm going to give it a good stretch. I'm skipping this row, and I'm coming in to the third row here. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to bring my thread over and do a very long double crochet. I am going to come into the first single right there. 1. I'm going to come right back in and create a long, give it a good stretch, and again coming into the first single with a single and create my last long double crochet here, just to create my stems. Okay, coming into the first, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Try to see how I'm going to fit my only 6. So I'm going to come back down, oops, and then on this one, on the third row here, give it a good stretch, and again, come in the first single and do a single. Give it a good stretch again, and do a double crochet. Next space single, and again, a good stretch, and another double crochet. So now I have 2 stems. Into the first one with a single, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to come back in, not that one, the third one. Give it a good stretch, and a single on my first single right next to it. Come back in, give it a good stretch, whoops, my hands are stretched out, so kind of hard to do any crochet. So first single right next to it, and come back in again and do a long stretch of double crochet. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3 coming into the first one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do one right here just because I want to fit at least 6 in there. But like I said, if you wanted to do the 8 like I have, you start with your big long double crochet here, skip a space into the next one, skip a space into the next one. So I'm going to skip 1. On my second one here, I'm going to come back down and give it a nice stretch if I can hold my thread and my hook right into the next space, which is right underneath. Come back in again, give it a good stretch, we don't want to be pulling too much, so we have to give it a nice good stretch on it, even though we will be pulling a bit, of course. So now we have 2. I'm going to come back in with a single on the next one and give it a nice stretch and do a long double crochet. So now I have my 3 stands. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do my other one right here. Oops, gotta make sure I think I grabbed the wrong one. Yes, I did. You have to be careful on that too. So we have to do the same line up. 1, 2, and 3. And again. And again. Right next to it a single, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to come right back in. See if I can get it right through here. 1, 2, another single, and my third one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to do my 6th one right on the corner. 1, 2, 3, or maybe just leave it at 5, I guess, so it doesn't become too awkward. I think I'll leave it at 5. In order to have it more center, I think I'm going to put it right there on top. Sometimes you just have to play with it because I'm cutting down on these stems here. Okay, so back to my third stem. That means we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 singles. I'm going to come right in here. Single right next to it. Another single. Now that's too spaced out. I come back on the same space. You have to play with it. So you need to place it where you want your stems, you know. There's no right and wrong with this. I just don't want them too far apart, and I don't want them too close, or else it's going to look too crumbled up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So I'm going to come in, skip two spaces, do my single, come back in, give it a good stretch, come back in, another single. So we have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to come, actually I'm going to do only 4 here because I'm going to come right back in here. 1, 2, and 3. So I've skipped 2 spaces here and came in the third one. I skipped 2 again, came into the third row, I skipped 2 again, and I went right on top of the double crochet. And then I skipped 1, 2 into the third one. I skipped only 1 and into the third one. I'm just going to finish it off. Singles. So I wanted 6 stems, but I ended up doing 5, which is fine. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to do 1 chain, come into the next space of single with a single. Okay, so we're going to do 3 singles. Chain 2, and we're going to come in the center where we have the long double crochet here, the middle one, and do 5 double crochets separated space, 1 chain. So we're creating the little stands for the flowers. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, separated by 1 chain. I'm going to do 1 chain, 2 chains, sorry, 1, 2 on the third space, 1, 2, and 3. 2 chain. If it's too loose for you, do only 1 chain. And I'm going to come in the center again of the next one and do 5 double crochets again, separated space by 1 chain separation. And continue to do this all the way to the end. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 2, 1, 2, and on the third space, single, next space, single, and next space, single. So we have 3 singles. Okay, and we're going to continue to do that all the way to the end. We're going to do 3 singles also here at the end. I'll meet you at the end. So I'm reaching the end. I've done my 2 singles and my 3rd single. Now you can cut off the thread, or you can just pull the thread, leave it on there, turn your work, because we're going to need to go up afterwards with the thread and continue. Now I'm going to use the orange. Slip stitch knot. I'm going to come in between the first double crochet here. Or maybe I should come in with the yellow. I'm going to come in with the yellow first and then put the orange in the center. And you can do it all in one color if you like. I'm just going to make it a little bit different because I have 2 hallways, and the 2 hallways has the 2 little tables. So I'm going to make one for each table. Okay, so I'm going to come in between the 2 double crochets on the 5 double crochets with a single, and I'm going to give it a nice little stretch, and we're going to make the poof. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Close it at once, chain 1 into the next space, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Close it at once, chain 1 into the next space. So we're going to have 4 groups of poof, 3, 4, and 5. Close it at once, 1 chain, and the last space, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and close it at once. So now we have the 4 poofs. I'm going to come into the first chain that I did here of 2, and close them well in. Where we closed the first poof together, I'm coming right in the middle, right there, doing single. After doing single, 1, 2, and 3, coming back in where we started with the single, we're doing picot, and I'm slip stitching through it. Next space in between the poofs, single, 1, 2, and 3, chain coming in where we started the single, oops, slip stitch through it, in between the poofs again, 1, 2, and 3, where we started the single, and slip stitch through it. Just keep turning in between the poofs where we have that one chain, single, 3 chain, and in the first single, slip stitch through it, turn it to the back. So we have here that stitch where we close the poofs in. I'm going to come in, single, 1, 2, and 3, and close in with a slip stitch on the first single. Okay, so hold my thread. So we have our first picot here, and we're going to close it together with a slip stitch. So now you got your first rosebud. Now, right here where we closed both the poofs together, I'm going to just do a single so we can have it nice and flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain. If your stitch is too loose, do only 4. I'm going to come into the first one again, between the first and second, give it a stretch, and we repeat the same thing. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Close it all together and 1 chain. Next space, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, 1 chain, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Close it all together, 1 chain, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again. So now we have the 4 poofs. I'm going to come into the first stitch here, chain, and I'm going to close it all together. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come right in the center where we've closed all the poof with a slip stitch into the space between poofs, single, 1, 2, 3, into the first single, we did our stitch, and close it with slip stitch into the second poof in between second and third, 1, 2, and 3, and again slip stitch through it, coming into the third and fourth poof in between, 1, 2, 3, going to the first single, slip stitch, and into the back where we closed our poofs together, single, 1, 2, 3, and going to the single with a slip stitch. So we're going to come and grab our first picot there, and we're going to slip stitch close right through it. Okay, and then right in the center here where we close the poof together, we have that 1 chain there, and then slip stitch right through it, or a single, doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're going to repeat. So chain 5, create your 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 1 chain, and then going to the next one. We're going to do this all the way to the last one, and I'll come back to you on the last one. Okay, everyone, so once you've completed your roses, whatever amount you are doing, you're going to cut your thread, your yarn, whatever you're using, and you're just going to tuck in a little bit of yarn thread through the back here, and just go through some of the stitches here on the chain because we're going to cover up on the next row. Okay. Okay, so now we had left the green, and if you didn't, well, you have to start with the green. That's why I didn't want to cut it. But if it's easier for you to cut and restart, then by all means. Okay, so we're here at the edge. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come behind here, right in the middle there of the rows. So that's 1 single inside of the chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 single in the chain. Where we have the connection here that we've closed it off, single, into the chain, single again, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Into the middle back here again, so where we've closed off, single. We're going to do that all the way to the end, and then we're going to turn around and create the next row. So I'm on my last rosebud. I'm going to come into the center here with a single. Now I'm going to come in exactly like we did the 3 chains here. So we're going to do the 3, so we're going to do a double crochet that's going to become like the 3 chains right on top of the 3 chains that we started here with the flowers. So just like that, right at the edge. Okay, and then we're going to turn around and 1, 2, 2 chain, 3 chains, sorry. So we have the 3 chains. So now I'm going to skip first single, 2 on the 3rd single, sorry, on the 3rd single, we're going to do again the 5 double crochets all in the same spot, separated by 1 chain. So we're getting this prepared for the next rosebuds, okay? And it's always going to be like that until we are left with 1 rosebud. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, what am I doing? Sorry. Where's my head? So we have 5. So 1 chain, 2 chain. I'm going to come right in the center of the rosebud with a single. Okay? And then 1, 2 chain. And then 1, 2 on the 3rd space. We're going to create the 5 single, 5 double crochets and 1 chain separation. I don't know, sometimes where's my mind? I'm trying to explain and my mind is going further than what I can explain. So 4, I'm sure some of you have some of those days. You know what I'm saying? Again, 1, 2 chain separation. If it's too loose for you, then do only 1 chain separation, okay? So we're going to do this until the last one. So we started with 5 motives. Now we're going to have 4 motives. Okay, so it starts cutting down on the motives. So I'll meet you on the 4th one. So I'm on my 4th motive, chain 2, and I'm just going to come right on the connection here where we connected the chain. Okay, so now I'm going to put the green aside. Okay, and this is what it's starting to look like. How pretty is that, right? And then I'm going to come in with the orange and do the same exact thing as we just finished doing. So slip stitch knot. I'm going to come in my first, between first and second double crochet, do a single, try to hide my thread here, give it a good little stretch there, and do your poof. So that would be 2, 3, 4, and 5. Close it at once, 1 chain into the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Close it at once. Another chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the poof stays the same. It's 4 poofs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 1 chain. Good, good. I got a thread rolled everywhere, right? Give it a little pull. Come into your first one here. And close it with a slip stitch. Now come into the center here where we closed the first poof off. There's that little hole, right? 1, 2, 3. You can do a single or you can do a slip stitch and do your first poof. Into the space between poofs, again, single, 1, 2, and 3. And slip stitch into the next poof. 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch. And then into the last, between 3 and 4. 1, 2, and 3. Come into the first single, slip stitch, and in the back we're going to do right in the center, here in the back of the flower, single, 1, 2, and 3, chain of course, and slip stitch. So give it a nice little stretch. We have our first poof here, and we're just going to slip stitch right through it. Like that, okay? So, and then when we come behind, we have where we've closed the poofs together, right? So you would just put your hook through it. Now, you can slip stitch it, or you can do a single. It's up to you, whatever makes you easier. It doesn't change anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 chain again, and we're going to repeat the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think I did 5 anyway. And 1 chain. So we're going to go into the next one. So we're going to repeat the flower. Now we're going to have 4 flowers instead of 5. We're going to repeat it to the end, and then we're going to cut our thread, the orange thread, and then we're going to proceed to work with the green again. Okay, so I will meet you at the green just to make sure that we're doing the 3 stitch going up, because we're going to need it to do leaves around it after. Okay, where we have the 3 chains. Okay, everyone, so I have my 4 rosebuds. Now I'm coming back to the green. Okay, one, 2, 3 chain. I'm coming right back here in the center where we've closed off. Single, in the chain, we're going to do 5 singles, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and again the same thing, coming right back here where we've closed off with that chain in the back, single into my chain, 5 singles. So very simple, and whatever we're doing on this side, you have to do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back here where we have closed off the single, and repeat again. So I'm going to continue mine, and I'll come back to you when I have completely one rosebud finished. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again back here with a single. Now don't forget that you must come down here where we have that single from the stem and do 1 double crochet so we can have those 3 chains afterwards. Okay, and then turn around, 1, 2, and 3, and come in single on top of the single where the rosebud is, 1, 2, and then 1, 2 on the third space. Create your 5 double crochets, your 1 chain separation, all on the same space to create the next stems for the rosebuds. So we have the 5, 1, 2, chain, 1, 2, right here on the third one, which is the middle one, right on top of the rosebud with a single. One, two, two. I'm going to do 2, 1, 2 on the third space. Again, the 5 double crochets on the same space, separated space of 1 chain. So 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then I'm going to leave my green aside and go back with the yellow to create my rosebuds. I'll meet you when I have one done. If you need to rewind and slow down the video, go ahead. Okay. Okay, everyone. So I'm down in my last motif. I did my double crochet to create those 3 chains. Now this time I'm going to cut the thread. I'm going to work on my last rosebud, and then cut the thread and come back with my green to create my leaves around this edge, and then begin on the other side again. Okay, so I'm going to create my rosebud, my last one. How pretty that is, people, right? Now, like I said, if you wanted to create a lot of rosebuds like I have there, I started with 8 rosebuds. Then you'd skip only 1. Like create on the first one, skip 1 into the second one, skip 1 into the next one, skip 1 into the next one with your stems here, okay? I wanted a smaller one because the smaller table I have in the hallway, it's smaller, so I don't need so much on length, okay? So I'll be back to you once I am done with the last rosebud. Everyone, so I pretty much finished creating my rosebuds. I'm going to come back with the green. We need to do the leaves like we have here. We need to do them here, okay? So very simple. We're just going to come in where we have the single here and create a single. Try to hide my thread while I'm at it. Create another single here. And again, another single here at the edge between the place here. So 1, 2, 2 single, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Come back into the same space. And 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Come back. and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have our first leaf on the side here. Now, okay, so we did our first leaf. I did 1, 2, 3 singles. So on the next 3 chain that we did here, we're just going to do singles. I did so 1 single right after we finished doing the leaf, 1 single right on top of the green here from the flower, 3 inside. I'm going to do 1 more single on top of the connection here of the flower, and 1 inside of here. So we're going to skip a chain 3 here so they don't get too crumpled up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you place them as you go, because many people have different stitch tension, and some could be tight, some could be loose. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if your stitch is too tight, you need to give it space between the leaves or it's going to look too crumpled up. I'm going to come back in again and do 1 more single. I'm going to do a single right on top of the connection here. And into where I have the chain, the 3 chain, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm coming right over to the next chain here. And I'm going to do with a single and chain 5. Okay, so you play with it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be on the same space. It all depends on everyone's tension. If your stitch is too close together or too far apart. If your stitch is too loose, then you need to bring those leaves closer. If your stitch is too tight, then you need to separate them a bit so they don't look crumpled up in the pattern, okay? So 1 single. So I did my 5 chain, 7 chain, 5 chain, a single in the same space, 1 on top of the connection here. And I'm going to do 3 more. 1, 2, 3 singles, and into the next space, single and chain 5 again. And then chain 7. And chain 5 again. Very simple, right? And back in with a single. So I can just stay firm. Okay, so now we are where the rosebud is. We still have 1 more chain here. So 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even though it's a chain right after, but I want this leaf to be right here next to it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I did chain 3 inside of there and then proceeded with my leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so like that. Now I'm just going to come over, so I'm going to do, let's say, chain 2. I'm going to come right in the center of my rosebud here in the back and chain 2, just so it can stay firm. And I'm going to come in to where I have my chain here next to the rosebud. Okay, so chain 1, not chain 1, single, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the same space, because I want it to be lined up like I have here. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 into the same space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the same space, and then 2 more singles. Now you pretty much can see the direction where your leaves is on this side, so you know you're going to have to put it in here, right? because we did almost one right after the other. So I'm going to come in where I have a connection and into my chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's pretty much lined up like that. You just follow through so you can have the leaves facing the same way on each side. Okay. Now, of course, everything we're doing here, don't forget you have to do on the other edge. So very simple, nothing to it, right? Just give you a little glimpse of what it looks like here. Look at that. And that's so pretty. So now you just follow through. So you're going to do it there, you're going to do it there, you're going to do it here, and you're going to do it here, and you're pretty much done. Don't forget that you have to do your singles and then one single here. Cut your thread and proceed on the other side. So all you have to do is just rewind and follow through. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will have it in display at the end. Thank you so much to every single one of you. Please don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It's free. Thank you so much, everyone, for your wonderful support. God bless, stay safe, and take care of you and each other. Bye-bye, everyone.